Good evening and welcome to today's edition of Pointing to the Cross. And I just got back from practice a little while ago and tried to get the yard mowed before all the rain set in this weekend, and I'll try to get a devotion in tonight because I don't think I'll get the opportunity to tomorrow. But I want to talk to you a little bit about God's mercy and His faithfulness. Israel found themselves in a bad place. They found themselves exposed to the wrath of God. And when Israel messed up, they went all the way. And it became so bad that the Lord allowed them to be taken off into captivity, and they suffered all kinds of atrocities at the hands of the invaders. And you know, sometimes when we mess up big, you know, I mean, there's slip ups and then there's mess ups. And when we mess up, sometimes we have a tendency to be afraid, and we should, because God's wrath is real. And our faithlessness is happening all too often. But even in the midst of our unfaithfulness, God never changes. And in Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 22 and 23, we have one of the great promises of Scripture. And if you've ever read that book, it really chronicles just all of the bad things that happened to Israel. And the tone of the book is pretty depressing. But even in the midst of all that, the prophet penned these words. And in verse 22 it says, "Through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed." That's a blessing in of itself. The fact that we're vertical, the fact that we're still living, the fact that we're not 6 feet under. If God gave us what we truly deserve, we wouldn't be here. But notice what else it goes on to say. It says, "Because His compassions fail not." He doesn't change. He's a compassionate God. He offers grace, and He offers mercy to those who are repentant. And then in verse 23 it says, "They are new," those compassions, "they are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness." Even when we are unfaithful, God is faithful. And His mercy and His compassion is new every day. Think about that for a second. When you wake up every morning, God is showering you with His grace and His mercy. Because if He gave us what we deserved, we wouldn't wake up. Thank Him for that faithfulness today. And we'll see you next time on Pointing to the Cross.